Hi, I'm Rob Tech, and welcome to another episode of In the Studio. In this video, we're going to break down and go through my song, Someone Else. So to start off this song, I wanted to go into the Afro House realm, and I really wanted to touch on this Afro House stuff with the melodic techno side, my trance side, and the whole Afro House beat. So we'll start off with the drums and the percussions. To kick off, so I have a kick drum on every beat to give it that 4 on the floor house or melodic techno vibe, and then I bring in my shakers. What's going on? So I bring in my shakers next. That kind of just keeps that beat going. Then I start bringing in some African percussions. So I really want to give it that vibe. So I wanted to keep that rhythm going and keep that groove happening. And then of course, as you heard, I have the fill, and that's on the djembe. And then it goes back into the normal groove. I have an Afro tom, which is actually a serum sound. We'll get into that. And then I've got just some hats. So the hats, the rhythm of the Afro tom, the shaker and the kick drum is actually all melodic techno. And then on top of that, to make it more interesting, I bring in my African percussions to give it that, so the African kind of groove, the shuffle beat going. And that's how we start off with the drums. Next up, we do have the basses we'll go through. So the sub bass is just the sub 100 hertz. And that just syncopates with the kick drum. Get the kick drum to play. So that's kind of a trancey feel that I wanted to keep, that real trance thing. And then I've got, my personal take on it was, a lot of Afro House has a distorted, solid single bass note, which then has a lot of portamento as it changes into the different notes and it glides through different notes. I wanted to keep something a bit more groovy than just a solid note with sidechain. So I created kind of more melodic techno, your trance, kind of a bass line, and it sounded like this. And I really liked how that fitted with the groove and the elements that I was going for with the African percussions and the Afro House flavour. That kind of gives this real kind of a danceable shuffle sort of a vibe. Start off with the melodies. I do have my main melody. Which has given me a sawtooth trumpet-like sound, which then carries the actual melody of what I was going for, which kind of melodic techno, but it carries the melody that I wanted to bring into this Afro House song. We start with the next one. I've just got the piano chords with sidechain. So it goes with the kick drum. And then I've separated that onto a different track that I've got the piano melody. This means that I can process the piano melody and change its volume differently to the whole piano sound. And it changes how I didn't want sidechain on the melody, but I wanted sidechain on the piano. Again, I can process them differently if I've got them as two separate tracks. And that's how I kick off my song. So kicking off my song, I have my down filter up sweep kind of sounds, which is just crash that's reversed. And yeah, so to start off the song, so what I've done there is I've got a bit of automation coming on where I'll open up the automation track, which is here, and I am automating. First one is a cue. One of my processes. Yeah, this one. Which just gives me that sweep where it goes up and then goes back down again, which happens when I automate my sidechain. So my sidechain is the second thing that comes in that creates the automation for that. At the same time, I do the same with the bass. We'll bring up the bass and I slowly and then first for the intro, and then it goes back down to how it was for the verse. So it's all on for the verse. So I use one of these ones. But I automated that to change just the cue on an EQ so that I can filter it up and then it can filter back down again. That gives it the vibe and momentum that we're going into another section. That just keeps the song interesting. Like a transient. So I kick off with my vocals. Got my first verse vocals, comped.
It's past 1 o'clock. Looking out the window, hoping for a knock.
So what we've done there is I've got LA2A, which is the compressor. Then I bring in a Pro Q, which is a Q, EQing certain parts out. Bring in a channel strip that is got a bit of compression on it. Soothe, which we'll bring up here, which is just dynamic EQ. It helps getting rid of any really annoying frequencies, especially like nasal frequencies, or the throat that's annoying. I've got the SSL saturator. I enjoy the saturator. It's quite a nice saturator. A compressor. That's been what sidechain, and another compressor that is lightly touched in the vocals. That just keeps the whole vocal balanced. And then of course I've got low cut, and then I've got send effects, which is a short room, Cooper time cube, which is like a short delay, like a slapback delay, Vauxhall, and a plate, which are both reverbs. And that's what I got for the first verse. Pre-chorus. Processed slightly differently, but it's similar. But yeah, we can open up our extra plugin that we've got, which is a chorus plugin, which actually works pretty well. It comes in just on certain phrases. So if we start here in the pre-chorus, it'll sound like this. Then we turn it on. Your body sees someone else. Turn it off. Oh, every time you say. So it gives me more kind of a punctuation on see someone else, especially as the song is someone else. You love me. You're happy leaving me on the shelf. Breakdown. First breakdown I've got. I keep the djembe going. I keep the shakers going. That keeps the vibe. That keeps the feeling going that we're moving at the overall rhythm. But then I also have my main melody come in, and with the piano, and the main melody takes the focus. And then part of my riser, I have my upsweep and my djembe doing my little fill, and the djembe's here. So in this breakdown section, I bring in some filtering on the breakdown. So some of the EQ, I just automated the EQ. So it's just give me a filter, so a low pass filter. And it's enough with the reverb, because the reverb goes up. I've got extra reverb on this. So you can hear it, it's more in the distance. It just creates a bigger space for the lead and a bigger space that the lead is in for the vibe of the song. So suddenly we're up close, the vocalist is here, and then we're in like a massive auditorium. And there's also a lot of verbs and delays on the melody itself. Then we come into our first chorus. So in the first chorus, I keep the melody with the sidechain. So that's the main melody that I keep, and then I bring in my three takes of my chorus. So chorus, same sort of thing, just slightly differently. Settings are just slightly different to bring out different parts of the sections, including a tape enhancer, which helps kind of just glue the whole vocals together on the chorus, gives it a really nice sound. And then I've got doubles under that, left and right doubles. So the doubles really create space. So I have the main one directly in the middle, and then I've got one left and one right, and then the send effects on the hard left, hard right help make it a little bit more of a better stereo image. But then because I do have the main one in the middle, it just makes it really big. Like the vocals are just very spacious.
Lies, you're about to see someone else. Can't believe the lie.
So it helps reinforce it, and especially when I've got everything happening, it helps just make it really big. And then just do the classic, in trance we have a thing where we just do a double kick. Just to keep it interesting. So two things happen with my kick drum, which I do in trance, which is usually every 8 or 16 bars. I'll either do a double kick, so it's like kick, 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 or I get the 4 kicks, which is the last bar, before the next 8 or 16 section, I take them out. So it will sound like this when I do get rid of them. And then it comes back with the extra impact, with the extra pump to it. We use that to mark different sections so that it's a nice effect, and it gives more impact on the next section, and it kind of just breaks up the different sections. So I have a fill with the djembe, I take the kick drum out, and then everything comes back in, and that's for the next verse, and the vocals come in for the first vocals, which is processed differently. We can go through the MIDI as well. Let's go through, I've got a main melody, which is a Spire. This is the main melody. Yeah. So the main melody I'm using is a Spire. I print everything from MIDI to audio, so I've got all my MIDI is rendered and muted. And then I've got just a sawtooth that's on, bit on of kind of PWM, but mainly a sawtooth is my main sound. Bit of plate, bit of delay. And the other sound that was really cool would be my African tom hit. Which again, I'm just using a sine wave on the sub oscillator, and then that's going into my envelope, which has got very fast attack, kind of like a short-ish release, and then no sustain. So it's just this real plucky kind of sound. And then of course effects got a bit delay on it, which is just ping pong delay. It stays on the same note. So the note that I'm using for this is my B flat or A sharp, which is the key of the song. So it's just on the dominant for the whole song, which helps keep everything in key. And that just helps with the rhythm as well. It's creating a cool little sound. And it's processed as a percussion. So I just got a bit of extra delay and some EQing on it.
Finding your location, you're not where you said. Are you at the station to get in some bed for the night? I thought that you had met the love of your life, but if
So this one I have the pre-chorus, and to keep it different from the first pre-chorus, now that we're in the second half of the song, is I decided to bring that main melody in early so that the main melody is in a bit earlier, which will create more contrast and interest for when I go into my next breakdown after the pre-chorus. Because last time we did a breakdown where it was just the main melody, then went to the drop and the main melody and the vocals came in for the chorus. But this time I wanted to create something completely different for the next drop, but I wanted to keep that main motif, that main melody in. So I brought that in with the pre-chorus. Now, as an anacrusis coming into it, I bring in my lead melody. Show my lead melody now. So in this part, I'm opening up the cutoff. And this just helps with building the song, like my overall build of the song. Instead of having a huge snare build, I wanted to really open up the cutoff on my lead synth. And then that's the build, that's the whole breakdown part before we go back into the drop. And another thing I wanted to do to help build it was I've got my breakdown pad. Which I'm just letting the oscillators kind of oscillate with each other. And it gives it this real distorted, real harmonic sound that I was after, which works really, really well behind the piano, which I've got. And then the main melody. So yeah, let's go through what the sounds are for that. So start from the beginning. The breakdown pad that I'm using is I think this is a Serum pad. Yep, so this is my breakdown pad. So all I have for that is a sub oscillator on sine wave, filter, a lot of distortion, a lot of verb. And it just creates a really cool distorted sound, which fits under everything for the breakdown. So the big difference there between my lead was I actually have the mod wheel, automated the mod wheel, so that it's got like almost like an arpeggio. It gives it a real like a sequence from a da to a da 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 as like 16th notes, and it broke it up, and that just sounded really cool. And then I've got the sidechain on. So that's the same sound in Serum. We'll find the sound in Serum. So the main lead melody that I have is this big one down here. So I've got it in Serum. We'll open up the Serum. And let's just play with the mod wheel, which gives it that really cool like texture to it. It kind of gives it that real ravey kind of vibe, which I was going for, to make the second chorus or the second drop more interesting than the first. Okay, so to make the drums and percussion more interesting in the second drop, I bring in extra claps that are rhythmic and gives it that rhythmic. They're filtered claps, but they are quite rhythmic. Bop, 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 bop. And that just helps with the rhythm and the groove of the whole song. And then to complete the song, I go back into my main melody, so my main hook, the main melody. And I keep these claps in this time. And so how I end the song, I have my riser. Then I bring in a kick verb and my kick drum. And then I layer that with a clap verb. So I've got my clap and my clap verb. And then I've got my kick and my kick verb. And it gives it a big, impactful sound to end the song. And that concludes this episode of In the Studio, where we deconstructed and broke down Someone Else. Be sure to come back to this channel to view new videos.